Hello everyone, welcome to this new video on our channel. And this video I'm excited to let you know that I'm releasing a new EA. It's called Fair Value Gap EA Pro, and basically it's an automated trading system that uses smart money concept and fair value gap to enter trades and to trade the market. I think it's one of the rarest on the market that use really market structure and smart money concepts. So stay tuned. In this video, basically, I'm going to talk about strategies and I'm going to talk about the inputs and how to use this EA. Before we continue, please make sure you subscribe to our channel, you like your video, and just activate this bell button so you can receive any new videos from our site. Let's talk first about the strategy. This EA basically used fair value gap for entry, but it also used market structure in order to identify the trend. So it's a really smart money concept EA about market structure and combining fair value gap. You can simply think about two different, let's say, type of strategy. Strategy one that I'm going to explain now is a time window strategy. So, for example, I'm trading a kill zone, or I'm trading, for example, a silver bullet window. I have a defined window where I'm trading in. As for this example, for example, the strategy one, have a, let's say, a time window between 17 and 19 hours. I will wait for the fair value gaps to appear, and I'll take some limit trades to buy and by putting some stop loss and putting some take profit. So basically, that's one of the strategy. Let me show you, for example, an example of the EA taking those trades. So here we are going to talk about a buy example. We have a bearish market structure, and once the structure start to shift to bullish, automatically we have fair value gap, a trade is took, a buy is executed, another buy limit with a new fair value gap, and you can see here the stop loss is just following a trend to book as much as possible of profit. So that's an idea of a window trade uh, strategy. Let me now show you a scenario for a sell example. Same idea. Whenever I switch it to bearish, I have two fair value gap that appears here to sell limit. One is triggered, one is not, and you have the stop loss that is following. A different type of strategy is, let's say, let me work on really a swing trade. So here I'm working on the 1 hours on USD, and if you're gonna notice, for example, I have a fair value gap here. I have a market structure shift that is done. So I'm just gonna enter and go ahead, take this trade, another fair value gap here, another fair value gap here, and so on. The idea is to follow that trend. So here the EA taking a couple of trades on USD H1. So the trend is here is bullish, and as you can see, the EA at each new fair value gap, it's creating a new trade. The swing low is used as a stop loss, and you see you have the trading stop that will activate just to protect the profit and to protect our trades. And as long as the market is bullish, as you can see, you have new buy limits at each new fair value gap. We talk now about the strategies, how we can use the CA. Let me explain the remaining part of this video, the inputs, how we can use them and how we can benefit on configure them differently to have multiple strategy that are executed on your MetaTrader. First, let's talk about the window settings. Basically, as I told you, can use really a kill zone or a silver bullet window. And in this case, you can just define the starting hour, the ending hour, and the trades will be taken really inside this window. If you chosen not to trade inside a kill zone, basically trade every time. By putting this parameter to false, simply you're gonna trade all the day. Usually this is good when you are doing swing trades. Let's now talk about that trade setting. In this case, for example, we have a window that is defined. I have a max trade per session, so I can take only 2 trades inside the session. If it was a day, I was gonna take 2 trades during the day. I can set if I allow buy or sells, so I can at every moment just tell the EA to take one directions trend. I can enable, let's say, limit orders, which is the normal way to trade fair value gap. So whenever you have a fair value gap, you will have a buy limit just on top. or in the middle. We're going to talk about this at a later stage. A unusual way to trade fair value gap is to use a stop order after the fair value gap. So for example, here, a fair value gap will appear just when this candle closes. So we have a buy stop order. The idea is if, let's say, the trend is really bullish, and maybe it will not get back to our fair value gap. So here we're sure that our buy stop will be triggered and we're going to ride the trend up. Each order will have basically an expiry, confirmed in a minute. If you put zero, basically no expiry is done. And finally, you can trade at marketplace. This is a good option for pairs that have high spread, like Bitcoin. So, for example, if you're setting a buy stop and your buy stop is in between your ask line and bid line, so it will never be executed by your broker. So, in this case, if it is the case, instead of just setting a buy stop, you're gonna just buy the market and you're gonna take your trade. I've talked so far about the trading window and how to set up our trade. Let's talk about the entry settings. In the entry settings, the first criteria is if we're going to use market structure shift or not. So if we take an example here, we have a bearish market structure. So we're going to take only sells. And once the market structure shifts bullish and the trend is upward, you're going to take buys. The second part of the market structure is structure filter. We're gonna check higher time frame. For example, here we have a daily upward trend, so we can even trade with that trend. We're gonna detect the bullish fair value gap and just take buys. We have another option that we need to trade counter that trend. This happened, for example, when you're trading, let's say, pre-London session. Usually in pre-London session, we're gonna put the low of the day when we are bullish or the high of the day when we are bearish. So if we go and trade counter the trend, basically we're gonna search in a daily upward movement, red fair value gap or bearish fair value gap, and just take sells. Or simply we can ignore all what's happening on higher time frame and any fair value gap inside our trading window, we're gonna take it if it is a bearish or a bullish one. The next criteria is the size, minimum size of a fair value gap. For example, if you're trading on 1 minute, you will not gonna go, let's say, and trade a fair value gap that is less than 1 pip or 2 pip. So we have a minimum size to configure. The EA will automatically, whenever a fair value gap is detected, is gonna check the minimum size and see if we're gonna take it or not. For example, smaller fair value gap, the EA will just gonna ignore them. The last thing I'm going to talk about is where to enter. So basically, we can enter at the extremity of the fair value gap. So a buy limit just right here. We can enter at the middle of the fair value gap, or simply we can enter at the middle or extremity with a certain shift. So for example, here we're entering at the limit of the fair value gap and adding a shift of 50 pip. Exit settings basically are exit in time. So you can define when to close the position at which time. For example, if we have a closing time at here, any position that was open during the trading window will be closed here. Same can be applied for the orders. Any order that was created inside the window and was never triggered, it can be deleted when the closing or delete order time is there. And you can have really different times for closing position and for deleting orders. Lot size is a quite simple configuration, so it can be fixed, it can be risk from balance, and it can be risk from equity. And whenever you choose one of those three options, you need to make sure to put the value, so even a fixed value or the percentage from balance or equity. Stop loss settings. We have several options for stop loss. We can simply not to put a stop loss. I don't recommend you to do this. Basically, a stop loss is always will prevent you from risking your account. In addition, if you don't put a stop loss, there's a couple of settings later on and take profit, break even, partial take profit, and trading stop that will not work. I'm gonna talk about those in a later stage. So we have several options. The first one is we can put simply the stop loss at the extremity of the fair value gap candle. The second one is we can consider the market structure and put our stop loss below the market structure. So even swing high, even swing low, depends if it's a sell or a buy. Or we can just go for a simple stop loss that whenever you have an entry, we're gonna put a stop loss based on a fixed pip value. Also, you need to consider that we have a shift stop loss in pip. This part is really for when, let's say, you're considering the swing low or swing high, and you need just to push it a couple of pips below or above. Take profit settings. We can have a no take profit, so we let that trade down, we close it manually, or let it hit, for example, trading stop. We can simply use a risk to reward. So, for example, if we have this risk to reward in red, if we set our X value to 3, so we're considering risk to reward equal to 3, so we'll have 3R as take profit, or simply we can just configure our take profit in pips. So we'll have a trade and we'll have a fixed take profit that is according to this trade. Break-even settings are quite similar to take profit, so we can simply not set a break-even or configure a trigger in pip or in risk to reward. So as example here for risk to reward, if I put it to 1, so I'll wait to get a reward of 1 and I'll trigger the break-even. Or simply I can put it in a pip value. Let's say after 50 pip, let's do a break-even. In both cases, once the trigger is active, your stop loss will move to protect your position, and you can also have a buffer that will protect the position and cover your commission, for example. If the buffer is 0, basically your stop loss will move exactly to your buy price. Partial take profit, we have two levels of partial take profit, so TP1 and TP2. They are similar. As for the conversion, it's quite similar also for break even. So we have a trigger for that, even in risk to reward, even in a distance that we define. And what we need also here to take into consideration that we have a percentage to take out of the running trade. So for example, our trade here is 1 lot, and whenever we hit the partial take profit trigger, we're gonna just close 0.5 and let 0.5 to run. Trading stop. We have several ways to do trading stop. So even we don't use trading stop, or we can use a standard trading stop. A standard trading stop, basically, if we have a current price, so we have opened the trade, you have its stop loss, and the price of the market is moving up. Whenever a new high price is formed, basically the stop loss will move with the current price. That's the standard way that trading stop are done in MetaTrader. Another way is to use really a trading stop. The idea is to move the stop loss in this case, but it's not on every tick. We're gonna wait for a certain step or a certain distance to be created. So if the price is moving up, whenever we have a equivalent to the step size, the stop loss will be moved. So we're gonna move one step, another step, a third step, and so on. So those are the both way to do trading stop in this EA, so standard and step trading stop. As for the configuration, we need to configure a trigger type. So we can even configure the trigger type in risk to reward, same as break even or take profit, or simply a distance in pip. And once we configure the trigger, we're gonna configure basically even the distance that we need to keep the stop loss from the bid price or the ask price, so from the market price. So the distance will always be there as soon as this distance is linked to the price. Whenever the price moves, the stop loss will move as per the distance that is defined. Or simply, if we're using that step trading stop, we're gonna define the step size. And this step size, whenever the price do a move up with the step size, the stop loss will be shifted. In the EA also you have a day filter, so you can define which days you want to trade and which you don't want to trade. And the EA will do the rest. So for example, here we're only gonna trade on Monday, Thursday, and Friday, and the EA will just gonna take trades on those days. The last setting in this EA is the news filters settings. Unfortunately, just to start with, you cannot back test the news filter. You're gonna use it only in forward testing or in live trading testing. The idea is we're gonna just configure if we're gonna avoid news or not, and we're gonna specify which type of news we're gonna avoid. So if it's high impact news, a medium impact news, or low impact news, and we can identify the GMT offsets. The idea is we're getting those news from Forex Factory. So Forex Factory is in GMT, and so you need to know your market watch shift from GMT, so you have the right, let's say, settings in the EA. You're also gonna put the currency that you're gonna consider as news. So, for example, if you're trading Euro USD, maybe you're just gonna need Euro and USD news to be filtered out. Also, you need to configure the when we're gonna stop trading before news and when we're gonna start trading after news. So those are configured in minutes. And finally, you have if you want to draw or not the news on the charts with different colors for high, medium, and low. Before talking about the last two settings, let's just give you an example about what's happening. Let's say we have an impact news just right here, and we decided to stop trading before 60 minutes and start trading after 60 minutes. So basically, the 60 minutes before and 60 minutes after are a no trading zone. And in case, let's say, your trading window that we have defined earlier is in this area, no trade will be done or partially no trade will be done. So no new trade will be put in place. However, you may have some trades that are running or some orders that are set before the news window. And therefore, you can use the last two options. So action on open trades. We can even keep the open trades running. So those that were already have buy and sells, we can keep them running. We can just close them if they are winning or losing trade, or we can only close winning trade. What's cool about the last option is, for example, let's say we have took a sell just right here, and that trend is counter us, so we're in a loss, and we enter the impact news window. So instead of closing it, if it is a losing trade, we can keep it, and as soon as it is a winning trade again, so the EA will check at the end of each candle if we're back in the winning area. So in this case, at the end of this candle will be in a winning position. The A will just close this trade. So we're gonna close it with no loss. And basically you can use this window to delete or not the orders. So if you have pending orders that were not yet executed, you can just decide to delete them or not. And finally, you can see that this EA is compatible with Drawdown Limiter EA. For those who doesn't know what is Drawdown Limiter, I'm gonna just let you the link in the description, and I'm gonna add it on top of this video so you can go and check what is Drawdown Limiter. It's really a must-to-have EA if you are an EA trader or you're doing FTMO or other profit challenges. And the last part of the settings is the drawdown and profit settings. The EA has a built-in filter, so to help you out to limit your drawdown, and also if you have a profit target to really stop trading when your profit target is hit. This is a daily drawdown, daily target profit target, and basically for the configuration, it's simple. We can enable or disable, and when we do the calculation, we can even consider the entire account, or we can consider the trades and the amount that are done via this EA, and we'll identify those via the magic number. So, as example, you have a balance and you don't want to go beyond a certain threshold. This is your drawdown. So whenever your balance lost, let's say X amount of money, the EA will stop trading, will close the trades that it has opened, and will wait till the next day to restart. However, you can also set a target profit. So the target profit is really when let's say you win 1%, 2%, 5%, wherever. You configure that, and the same as for the drawdown. When you have a profit, the EA will just stop trading and will wait till next day. As for the configuration, basically you can choose both for drawdown and for target profit. You can even choose it from an initial deposit. So you just put a number, let's say 10,000, and I want just 5% drawdown. You can choose it from the account balance. So at a new daily candle, the EA will automatically check this account balance. Same for the account equity. And you can basically choose from a higher, from the equity or the balance to set your target with, or simply can set a risk per money or a target per money. So I need the EA to make $500 per day, and I don't want it to lose more than $100 per day. And last parameter is really the refresh period in seconds, where you're gonna configure the EA when to check the drawdown and when to check the target profit. Well, our video is at its end now. Hope that you have all the information needed to configure Fair Value Gap EA Pro. If you are at this stage, even you have bought the EA and you're asking how to configure it, or you're just by curiosity on this YouTube video. So if you didn't buy it, I'll keep the link to it, mql5.com, in the description below. Profit from buying it now as long as the price is low. Moving forward, more set files will come out and more new strategy built on top of this EA will be available. Till next time, don't hesitate to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and hit the bell button so you can receive any new notification from our site. Thanks a lot and have a safe trading.